Everyone, welcome along to Easter Road. We're here for the start of the Betfred Cup quarter-finals. It's Hibs against Aberdeen in front of the BT Sport cameras. Michael Stewart is with the guys tonight. Plenty to get through, I'm sure, ahead of this game, which on paper looks pretty decent, Michael.
Yeah, I think on paper it looks like the tie of the round. Two very good sides. And at home, Hibs are a real force to be reckoned with, and it's going to be an interesting game, this.
It's like the classroom over there that we're talking behind.
Good evening, Michael.
Yeah.
Good evening, Daryl, and good evening, Stephen.
Good evening. Well,
is that not the polite thing to do to welcome all your guests?
The usual team. The usual team are across there. That's a familiar starter for you boys, is it not?
He just doesn't like you.
Does anyone at home not know who you are?
I think that's more accurate.
Stephen, lovely to see you.
Daryl, great to see you as well.
Great to see you. You looking forward
to it? Good company. Oh, absolutely. Can't wait for it. I think Michael's right. I think on paper, tie of the round.
I thought you were going to say right that Daryl doesn't like him.
Aberdeen fans will travel down in big numbers. The Hibs fans will come in big numbers because their team's doing well. It looks a cracker. And I just think Hibs edge it. I just think they've got a little bit more quality in their team, a little bit more fluency. And I just think they'll edge it tonight.
Sorry about your placement. Listen, if you want to just come over here a wee bit, you're more than welcome.
I'm fine.
You got anything to say for yourself?
I think it's going to go to extra time and penalties, Daryl.
Oh, do you? Right.
We love a drama.
OK, we cheer on a car home after. That'd be disappointing, wouldn't it? Right, get some questions in. We'll try and get through as many as we can.
The viewers didn't need to know that, did they?
I'm just checking. No? Thought I could maybe get away without you, but there's no chance. No. Anyway, get your questions in. We'll try and get through as many as we can. JD will hand the phone in shortly.
Can we just talk about the John McGinn goal?
Oh, would you like to? Yes, on you go. And you had something to say, guys.
You've seen it, Michael.
Oh, yes.
Goal of the century, Daryl.
Yeah.
Century?
Goal of the century.
You said
that will not be
best
bettered.
goal ever.
Remember the goals back in the 1920s?
I know. Yeah.
You said best goal ever. By the way,
I tell you, it's going to be up there. I saw a tweet afterwards, and somewhere had said goal of the day, and it was like the biggest underestimation ever. Understatement. It wasn't goal of the day. That is right up there.
It's brilliant to see him doing so well, though, isn't it?
It almost makes a mockery of the fact that Celtic didn't go and sign him.
Yeah.
His reputation is building more and more. His value is going up tenfold. I think we all probably believe that John McGinn would go to the championship and star. He's got all the attributes. His physical attributes suit the championship. The high intensity game, the drive that he brings to the team that he plays for. So
he'll be in the Premier League next year, either with Villa going up or somebody will buy him.
OK, a few questions coming in. Good one here from Murray Webster.
Oh,
he says,
what a name.
Does Chris still think Celtic will win the league by 15 points? It's a good question, Murray.
Oh,
it's a good question.
Murray Webster works for us.
No,
I wonder
it's a different Murray Webster. I've seen the photo.
Is that true? Is it?
Yeah.
Well, the Murray Webster who works for...
Don't try and skirt around it and just answer the question.
Oh, maybe 12. I tell you, no, but things aren't good. I mean, it has to be said, Celtic have been desperately poor this season. They are boring to watch, very, very ordinary, and they need to liven themselves up. Too many of the, so-called big players have underperformed. Simple as that.
So they're boring and slow,
well, they are.
But they're still going to win by 12 points at the league.
Well, I think they will kick into gear eventually.
Jordan D says Celtic will cruise the league. Behave yourselves.
Well, there's no doubt they've got the best players, but that doesn't guarantee you're going to win the league, because Chris is right. Their form's not good. I think you recorded this morning in one of your articles the speed of the decline, how quickly they've gone from here to here. In such a short space of time. Normally these things take 6, 7, 8, 9 months. It's happened almost immediately since the season started. So that is alarming. Brendan Rodgers has said it's alarming. Celtic fans should be concerned at the performance of their team. So that almost puts even more doubt into the players' minds.
What about all this talk of a divided dressing room? I think Chris Boyd made those comments. I think Brendan has since replied to Chris, and I think the answer was, he should concentrate and get himself back into the Kilmarnock team. So
he can't get in. He can't get in. They just beat Celtic. He's not getting in.
True. You could call it a spat. But what do you make of some of the comments and accusations, if you like?
Well, I mean, whether there's a divided changing room or not, we don't know. But one thing is for certain, it's not going to be a happy changing room with the way things are going. And, to go back to the speed of the decline, I think you can trace this back 6 months, even, to the second half of last season. Things had started to get a little bit more ponderous in their play.
Transfer windows?
Yes, exactly, transfer windows. And what's happening now, and is the concern if you're connected to Celtic, is that there is the dynamics that are behind the scenes are playing out in public. The relationships that are obviously a little bit strained are being played out in public. And I don't think that's the best way to do things. And that is just emphasised by Brendan replying to Chris Boyd. Just ignore it. Rise above it.
Leo Fagan wanted to know your thoughts on the Chris Boyd situation, the comments on Celtic. I think we've just answered that. Daniel Forbes also asking them, in fact, he's saying Celtic need to stop the negative sideways passing. He'd like to see some players like Arzani and Morgan playing as well. Do you think the likes of Lewis Morgan might feature tomorrow night in our live game in Perth?
Well, he's going to get an opportunity. I think the problem is you look at Lewis Morgan, who is probably a work in progress. You look at, 2 years ago when Brendan came and the players they had. Patrick Roberts on one side flange, James Forrest flange, Scott Sinclair at the top of his game, Dembele at the top of his game. He's now looking to the bench and seeing the likes of Lewis Morgan and thinking, I'm needing someone to come on and change this game. I
think he said he made too many changes at the weekend, didn't he?
The starting lineup,
this afternoon. But Arzani's not even in the Europa squad. I mean, that's it's another oddity, the old signing policy. It's a bit of a head scratcher.
What do you think he'll do tomorrow night then? Do you think back to more tried and trusted like the team that played against
He needs to win the game. He
Yeah.
needs to win the game, surely. Irrespective of style, and he speaks about style and how they want to play and stamp their authority. They have to win. Simple as quarter-final of the Cup away to St Johnstone.
It's not so much the style, it's the intensity that they're playing at. It's not that they're playing a different style, it's the intensity, which means there's not as many options of the ball because the players aren't in position quick enough. There isn't that running power to get in beyond, which means there's less space for players like Rogic and McGregor to play in. And the wide players that Craigs is talking about, when you're in midfield and you fire the ball out to a wide player and they go and commit the defender and take people on and make things happen, that's not happening now. There's that lack of responsibility being taken by the players.
A big issue was Dembele going in the fact that Celtic don't score from crosses. They don't have somebody who we would say is brilliant in the air. And talk about the goal against Rosenborg. It was a long diagonal ball by Atta stayed up, knockdown. And Celtic,
plan B,
I would say that.
I don't think Brendan liked that comment either, though, because he said it's easy to say divided dressing rooms, go to plan B sort of stuff.
But I think he's
accusations.
I think he said himself, did he not as well this afternoon about the style and
variety of play? Did he say something like that?
Absolutely. But they should have had a replacement, and that is the one thing which I think Brendan has to take responsibility for that, like it or not.
So just to be clear, you're saying you were right. Okay, yeah,
I mostly am, Daryl.
Right,
In your own mind.
Stephen Kelly saying are Rangers Celtic's only challengers. I mean, Neil Lennon's ruled out Hibs, Hearts. Obviously,
Effie Ambrose hasn't.
Well, no, Effie says they can win the World Cup.
You talk about ruling Hibs out, but if you look at the calendar year, Hibs are top of the table.
Yeah, they are.
Kilmarnock are level on points with them.
Are you ruling them in?
Well, I wouldn't rule them out. I certainly wouldn't rule them out.
That means he's rolling them in. That means he's rolling them in.
No,
they're in.
No, I'm not ruling them out.
It's too
early. It's too early to rule them out.
Since the calendar year, Hibs are top of the table in this. Really?
Yes.
Yeah. And Kilmarnock are level.
No.
Yes,
they are.
Yes.
Rangers are third and Celtic are fourth.
Michael, they say it's all about prep.
Yep. Yep. So
I wouldn't. Let's get back to this. You're ruling them in.
No, I'm not ruling them out.
Oh.
I would be the same with Hearts and Aberdeen. I think that I don't see Kilmarnock having enough to mount a challenge over the whole season, but they're going to be very competitive. You see, and anybody going to Rugby Park is going to be in with
So you're not
real
ruling
game.
Hearts,
Aberdeen or Hibs out.
But
Not ruling them out,
at this
but
stage.
I'm ruling Kilmarnock out.
But
At this
stage.
Who are you picking to win the league at this stage?
It's too early. Genuinely, it's
come
too
on.
early. It's too early.
I
was saying
know it's
this.
too early,
I was saying
but
this to
that's what we are here
I know, but I
for.
was saying to Darryl before that I genuinely can't stand here and say with complete certainty that Celtic are going to win the league.
No,
I can't.
I'd agree with that. What Celtic have done is they've given great encouragement to the likes of Hearts and Rangers and Hibs and Aberdeen, and the issue Celtic have is this season, 16 games, they've played well in 1.5 of the games. So what is going to change like that? I don't see it. Maybe
What's
not
the
changing too quickly.
It is really
Rosenborg Champions League at home. Second half played very well.
Alice Kirk with 10 men second half at Celtic Park. I thought they were very good.
So two.
That's a full game.
So one's
Another full game.
One in two halves.
But I just think
one
it's a
upmanship
great
there.
challenge for Craig Levein at Hearts, a great challenge for Neil Lennon and for Derek McInnes to think, do you know what, maybe this could be our year. They must have that belief. They have to make the players dream that it could become a reality.
You can't write
and they
Craig
have
Levein
to
off.
keep chipping away at results.
Maybe Mr. Sutton was still on holiday for that Alice Kirk game.
What do you
Maybe.
think
Did
of
you
Craig
see that in the
Levein's
pool?
comments?
When you filed your message.
So what do you think of Craig
day?
Levein's comments about John Suter and Dundee United? Do you think he was really required? You see so many managers now saying, well, I wouldn't talk about another club. I wouldn't talk about another player.
What did he say?
Well, he just said that Dundee United nearly
Almost ruined them.
John Suter.
Playing him in
Did
too
he?
many positions.
Yeah. The fact that they gave him his debut at 16. I just wondered what your thoughts were. I know you're very close with Craig. I just wanted to see what your thoughts were.
Well, I know you're not very close with Craig, and there is a reason that, and neither am I close. I'm not in or out with Craig.
You're not ruling that relationship out?
I think he's done a fantastic job.
It's not what he asked you.
So what do I think about
his stock answer?
I didn't see these comments.
It was comments regarding Dundee United, and it was almost having a dig at Peter Houston and Jack McNamara. That's what it felt
so
like.
maybe you'd be better versed to answer that then.
No,
I
I'm
didn't
just
see the comments.
What do you think of them, Stephen?
Because you read them.
No, you just hear so often other managers saying, "Well, I don't like clubs talking about my players or talking about my club and what's going on," and then suddenly they start speaking about other clubs. So
what do you think?
I didn't think it was really any of his business, if I'm honest. I think he's in such a good place as a club. He's in such a good place as a manager. His health is getting back to normal, hopefully. So his team are doing well. Don't draw attention, I think, and distract and take distraction away from
Always
his team.
a negative.
Hearts have been great.
Always a negative.
Hearts have been great.
I think he actually
been
backed
really
up
good
by saying that John Suter also supported the comments as well.
Well,
I'm
I'm sure John will thank him for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Always a negative about Hearts and Craig Levine.
No, it's not at all.
Don Yak is asking, I'll move it on for the sake of all of you.
Don Yak?
Ask Sir Sutton. No idea who he's talking about there.
That's nice.
Celtic.
Do you like Sir Michael?
Celtic need to play Griffiths each week. I think he's effectively saying, do they need to play Griffiths every week from the start?
I think Edouard's form has been desperate, hasn't it? I mean, that's been a bit, of a head scratcher. But he's called Griffiths out, Brendan, hasn't he? About in training, hasn't been training hard enough, this, that and the other. But, Griffiths has bagged a couple of goals, so he looks like he's the man. And, I talked about this before. I don't like all the I'm number one stuff. And, I'm not talking about a split dressing room. I don't know. But if I was Edouard, I don't necessarily would think that's good for their relationship.
It was quite telling when Rodgers came out and said that Lee Griffiths shouldn't have any complaints with Stephen Naismith getting ahead of him in the Scotland squad.
Yeah,
I think.
Was he trying to fire him up?
Yeah, I think so.
Work?
I think so. I think Lee Griffiths is somebody that obviously, to many people looking from the outside in, you wonder why he isn't starting every week. So perhaps there is something there that just needs managed, needs.
I think he called him out for a reason, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he put him on very late in the Rosenborg game where we all thought, 30 minutes left.
He was in court that afternoon, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Which may have, I'm sure did play a huge part in it.
And is it also because Stephen Naismith is such a good trainer? Everyone says as well, and training he's fantastic, puts everything into it. Maybe was that the contrast in that particular situation?
He's in very good form, Stephen Naismith.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who wasn't even in the squad.
Would Lee Griffiths be physically ready to play all the games? I know a couple of weeks ago in another one of your columns, you spoke about.
You read a lot, don't
I do. It keeps popping up in my Twitter, and I have to read it.
You read a lot of junk.
Do you get someone to read them?
Junk folder.
Do you get someone to read them for you?
It's an audio book.
Do I think?
Is he physically ready to play every single
Well,
minute
I think that's why Brendan questioned him. Obviously, he's seen something in training he didn't like, and on that basis, that's why he left him out. So he does need to knuckle down. What's he, 28 years old now? Just signed a new deal. Yep. He has a responsibility. Scored a lot of goals for Celtic, but
look, we'll come back to Celtic tomorrow night. Then Adam Oliver saying, Craigs, do you think Motherwell stand a good chance tomorrow, or is a step too far? He's actually written more, but when I press it, a smiley face comes up. I'm not sure why, but we'll just do the first part of the question.
Judging on the last two games against Hearts, against Aberdeen, two teams who hope to be pushing for the top three or top four, they lose both games 1-0, and there wasn't an awful lot between them. I think there's no doubt Motherwell have lacked a little bit of creativity in the final third. I think that was the manager was speaking about today in his press conference. He expects probably more crosses into the box, more quality crosses into the box. He's wanting a little bit more from the strikers with regards hold-up play, link-up play. So I watched training today, and I'll be honest, it's as good a tempo as I've witnessed in the last few weeks. Not that they haven't been training well. No, you don't.
Stephen.
But they almost looked angry. And at times today they were kicking lumps at each other. I had to turn away and I thought, players are going to miss tomorrow night because of the
elbows.
Training. So everything, elbows, kicks. There was no ball involved, to be fair. The ball wasn't there at all. They were just kicking lumps out of each other.
That's Motherwell at the best, isn't it?
So I expect a high tempo, high energy performance tomorrow.
Expect them to win.
Good.
Training was of a really high quality. They just booted each other. No balls involved.
Nothing.
So you said
I think they've got
two teams,
chance.
Aberdeen and Hearts, that are going to be pushing for third or fourth. So you're ruling them out.
Well, in the top 3 or 4, should have said.
He's given Motherwell a chance tomorrow.
Yeah,
He's ruled them in.
Generally,
chances.
It's a one-off game.
Yeah.
And if there's ever a game to find your form and get a little bit of momentum on your side, we've seen last year in the cup games were good foil for Motherwell. So let's hope it happens again.
And Rangers against Ayr as well tomorrow. Another interesting tie there. And I'm just wondering, have you just seen firsthand some of the Rangers players that might start against Ayr with your young Motherwell team?
Well,
a few senior players.
What are you saying? Rangers are going to
if they
weaken
do
the team?
Oh, you could say rotate, weekend, whatever you want to,
Well,
Chris.
is that what
He
you're
said
saying?
weekend.
Are you
He said
suggesting
weekend.
they're
You
taking
said
air
weekend.
lightly,
Weekend.
Daryl?
Well, if you're going to rotate in the schedule they've got, maybe it's against Ayr.
So you think their younger players are weaker? He's saying their younger players are weak.
Is that what you,
Are you saying that?
You don't like the fringe players?
I am, yeah. So what do you think of Sadiq?
He doesn't
So what
rate
do you
the
think of
squad.
Sadiq?
That's
Give me
Rangers
his
have got a poor
strength. Give me the
squad.
strength and his weaknesses of Sadiq. Come on, give me them.
Sadiq, a good player.
So Rangers have got a
But
poor
what
squad
I
then.
would say is have started the season very well. Good win at the weekend at Alloa.
Yes.
And don't take them lightly.
Never
Rangers
said
have built
take them
momentum.
lightly.
So
I just
Rangers
said
have got
They've built momentum. I don't think there'll be too many changes. I don't think he'll play a weakened team.
Oh, so you
Right,
think Rangers
there
have
we
got
go.
a weak squad then?
I think they've got some weaker players, as all squads have, Michael.
Oh, okay.
Right,
We've-
so let me get back to the question I was
Well,
asking Stephen. Have you just seen some of them?
We've continually spoke about how important the first trophy of the season is. And because it comes so early in the season, it can really galvanise everybody. So I don't think Stephen Gerrard will look and think, we'll make 7 changes and hope we get by Ayr. You know, so Lee Wallace played yesterday. Jordan Rossiter
This was
made his
against your
first
under 20
appearance.
team. Rangers
What was
won
the score?
well in the end.
2-2.
2-2 at one point in the game.
At one point in the game. We lost 6-2. We lost 6-2.
6-2.
Honestly, great
It's a
entertainment.
lovely
though.
scoreline.
Great entertainment.
Rossiter, Wallace, Cresta, you were telling me earlier on a few
and
that
Sadiq played.
Sadiq played
Yeah,
as well.
so-
Any of them look particularly good?
Lee Wallace cruised through the
Didn't
game.
need to.
Lee Wallace
Didn't need to against them.
And I tell you what, people may question Lee Wallace's attitude or things that's gone on in the past. His attitude yesterday was terrific. He was encouraging people. He was talking to young players. He was driving up and down the pitch himself. So he set a great example for both teams and how to go and be a senior player and how to, if you're playing reserve
So you'd
football.
have him in tomorrow, basically. He deserves a chance.
Well, he certainly. He looks on form. He looks full of fitness. So definitely he's one.
Bit of competition, though, with Barisic, obviously, who's injured at the moment, but playing well there.
He's a good player.
Bit iffy defensively, maybe in the Europa League.
Yeah, but he's a good player. I remember seeing him for Osijek, and I thought to myself, he's a very good asset to have on a team. Delivery from wide areas is absolutely top drawer. We've seen that already with him playing for Rangers. So there is options. Obviously, Flanagan's played on the left-hand side as well.
Yep.
What's
the pecking order for you?
Well, I really
Not
like.
ruling anything in.
I really like Lee Wallace, but quite clearly Barisic's first choice at left back for Stephen Gerrard. But I would agree with Craigs that I think if Lee Wallace is going to get a chance, then there's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't be against Ayr.
Yeah, okay,
And if he gets in, I know, just to finish, if he gets in and does well, Stephen Gerrard might think, well, do you know what? I've actually got a really good duel here where I can pick between, because he probably hasn't, probably saw enough of Lee Wallace up to now. So that'd be a good opportunity.
I'd just go back to my original question there before he jumped all over me. You think they'll rotate as well then tomorrow night, Michael?
Yes, I do.
How many?
Good. Excellent.
11.
On that note, we'll see you again at 7:50.
Dear, oh